Welcome to B2B Marketing Asia podcast. I'm your host, Medha, and today we are going to dive into the world of mentorship and meaningful connections as we talk about MentorWalks. MentorWalks is a global initiative that is redefining how women connect and grow in their professional journeys. And I'm thrilled to be joined by Belinda, co-lead of MentorWalks Singapore. And I welcome you, Belinda, and thank you so much on agreeing to chat with us.
Thank you for having me, Medha. Nice to be here.
Belinda, can you tell us more about MentorWalks and what inspired you to take this co-lead role for Singapore?
The MentorWalks is a walking and mentoring program. We meet at Marina Bay Sands every other month, and we pair up mentors and mentees. And we then do a 1 hour walk around Marina Bay Sands. You can go any direction they like in their small groups and have a mentoring session. And I came across MentorWalks actually when I was still living in Australia. I very proudly live here in Singapore now. And really what drew me to MentorWalks were a couple of things. Firstly, there were just these incredibly senior women available to mentor because I have really good access to mentors in my industry and workplace, but these really extraordinary senior women from different industries from around Australia were volunteering their time to have conversations with people like me. It felt like a unique privilege and opportunity. I'm a huge advocate for healthy body, healthy mind. So I love that opportunity to combine personal development and conversation with walking. So then I got to this mentoring session. After my session, I was contemplating feedback, and long story short, I ended up approaching the founders of MentorWalks and said, "Hey, I'm moving back to Singapore at the end of the year. Would you allow me to launch MentorWalks in Singapore?" I lived here before and there was still a lack of opportunity for women in Singapore. And so I felt quite passionately that this would be a really strong program for Singapore.
Mhm.
And to my fortune, they agreed to allow me to bring this beautiful program to Singapore, and they partnered me with Eliza Knox, well established in Singapore. Together, we've been leading this program, and the rest is kind of history.
That sounds really interesting. I think mentorship is required at every stage of life. I remember having a mentor at school. I remember having mentor at university at early stage. And just like you, big advocate of how mentors or mentorship can impact your career and sometimes also personal life as well. And hence, always on a seek out for good mentors. I recently attended Mentor Walks in Singapore and loved it. And one of the things that stood out for me was the very accurate matchmaking that happens between the mentor and the mentees. Would you like to talk more about this matchmaking process?
Yeah, sure. And I'm so delightful to have you there. I'm glad you had such a great experience. You're always welcome back. When you registered to attend a Mentor Walks walk, we asked a few simple questions about what had brought you to Mentor Walk. And we asked you to select categories around what you're really wanting to be mentored about. And so that builds your mentee profile. We have a similar process for our mentors. And so there is a bit of just basic data matching that happens there. We have, so that's, I guess, the simple data side of it. But I think the secret to our success when I look at Mentor Walks, perhaps compared to some other programs as well, is we do have a lot of human intervention in that matching process. Aliza and I are fortunate to have Joey Lee as our local coordinator. And we all sit down and we really look at the mentors that we know as people. We take the time to know our mentors and we look past the resumes and we're really looking at some of their passions, some of their personal lives that we know that can impact these mentees. We take quite hands on with that process. And then we do have a lot of return mentees, which we love. And so what we do also is we make sure that if you do come back, give you a different experience. So if you had someone that was in the finance stream, next time we might give you someone from tech or someone with a very different past, someone from Singapore or someone from the UK. So we try and mix up that experience as well. And then finally, the thing I didn't see coming when I brought more mentor walks to Singapore was the mentee relationship. is just so critical. So as you would know, we match one mentor to 2 to 3 mentees. We now spend more time doing is looking at the mentee profiles
Mhm.
because in these really beautiful relationships coming from the mentees. So when they're walking, the mentees can give input and their suggestions as well as the mentor. And then we've seen some really great relationships evolve after the walks. Two people I know have gone into business together, which is phenomenal, but saying, I'm really good at this, you need help with that, let's support each other. Or I was in a group, not privy to early network and user groups in Singapore, but they were, so they help each other out.
Yeah.
So we spend more time now than we ever have looking at getting that the matching and the mentees as well as the mentors. Yeah, it's just a fabulous community and we try our best to harness those relationships and bring people together.
Oh, great to hear about the human intervention behind matching the mentees and the mentors. So, recently I was doing this pulse check in the market and asking people on what kind of events they would like to attend. And one of the options that I gave was AI led matchmaking. And it was popular. Do you see using AI in this matchmaking, or you think that a human or putting your man hours is more organic?
I think AI technology in general is being used to drive efficiencies and removing a lot of the manual tasks that takes a lot of our time so that we can use our time to do things that are more value add and that are more interesting as well. So I transfer that belief into MentorWalks. Folks in headquarters are testing technology now to automate a lot of that matching for us. But I still believe passionately that we need to do that human intervention, that we know our people as people, not just the cells in a spreadsheet. Perhaps we build that profile over time and teach an AI tool to be smarter. But I still believe we will always do a human intervention and a check on that. I don't ever see that changing.
We talked about the operations on how the matchmaking is done. Let's maybe talk about the pre-event on how do you attract those mentors, or what are the channels that work for mentors and what are the channels that work for mentees?
We have a strong profile for mentors,
Mhm.
over 20 years of leadership experience, advocates for women, and a few other little things. So a lot of our mentor connection come through personal connections and referrals. And shout out if there's anybody there that matches that fit and would like to mentor, please always get in contact with me. I'm Belinda Pervan on LinkedIn. And we're really especially looking for diversity in our mentors, especially having local Singaporean women or women from the ASEAN region. We're quite selective and specific. With our mentees, we tried a lot of things really when we started up here because this was an Australian company, our MentorWalks, and what works in Australia doesn't work in Singapore. The headquarters folks can't believe we don't know the weather in Singapore. They're like, but you're not going to know if it's going to rain tomorrow. I'm like, we're not going to know an hour before the walk if it's going to be rained out. We're just going to turn up with umbrellas and we're going to go, huh? Anyway, so what works there doesn't work here. We found for us here in Singapore, social media marketing has been the best. When you look at these programs, you trust people and those personal connections important. We've had the social media, a lot of traction through both mentor and mentees sharing their experiences and then also some paid social. And we've got the basics, like we've got a good email database and we get a lot of referrals. Actually, that's a really big thing for us is mentees telling other of their peers about mentor walks. We do get a lot of those referrals, which is delightful. I mean, we're doing a good job when people are bringing their friends along, which is lovely.
Oh, that's great. So, what I'm hearing is that for mentors, professional connections work, and for mentees is mainly social media and word of mouth. Okay, got it. When I was scrolling through the website of MentorWalks, there are also various partners that you work with. How does that partnerships impact in this community building or the goal you have with MentorWalks?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Partnerships for us at MentorWalks allow us to expand outside of Singapore. We're about to launch in our sixth country in the US, which is super exciting. Those partners enable us to run 110 events annually around the world and our regular webinar series. When I think about Singapore, those partnerships we have, which used to be specific to Singapore, we now have global partnerships. They really just allow us to make that commitment to Singapore women that we're going to be here 6 walks a year. We're settled in, we're in the country, and it's volunteer for myself and Eliza, but the other folks that need to be involved in marketing and coordination are able to be supported. And there's no risk in us having to pull out of Singapore. So we're grateful for our partners. Welcome to DocuSign, a new partner. We couldn't do it without them.
Oh, perfect. That's good to hear. One of the things you mentioned how mentees have this bond and connection post event. But I think one of the key ingredient to have a successful mentorship is to have consistency with the mentors in terms of engaging with them or in terms of asking the right questions to be able to learn more. Do you think that MentorWalks equip mentees with the same?
That's a bit of a challenging one in the
Okay.
regard to mentor walks. And I'd be really transparent with that is we one of the reasons I think we're able to attract such a high pedigree of mentors is we say mentor walks is low commitment but high reward. We ask them to turn up for the hour walk, and that's all we ask of them. And so we don't have a commitment to mentees that they're going to have that ongoing connection. This is more of I would like to speak with someone about my perspective, a challenge that I have, or a situation that I'm in, or whatever your scenario is, and you can come back every 2 months, but you won't have the same person. That is a nuance to our program. We do, though, I do see a lot of mentors do stay connected. So just so I don't want to make that commitment. We do have our regular webinar series as well, which is also filled with great information. And I think our approach more is around the diversity of perspective for mentors so that you could come back every couple of months and get different perspectives on your career development and direction. We do a biannual survey of the women that have worked with us over 6 months to check how they're doing and how they've been progressing. And we have this beautiful stat that I love, which is 48% of the women that attended a walk
Mm-hmm.
progressed in their careers since joining MentorWalks. Now, we're not taking credit for their progression, but we like to think we're a small part in helping them progress their career, and yeah, really proud of them.
I think that's an interesting statistic. With mentor walks for women, are there specific challenges women face in seeking mentorship? And is MentorWalks trying to address those challenges?
It's interesting at the um, question people want to be mentored on. One thing that comes through loud and clear every single walk is managing imposter syndrome. When I've spoken to people in my team, I said, why don't you come to mentor walks? This is something I'm so passionate about. Like, come on, please. Women have imposter syndrome about being mentored about imposter syndrome. We get stuck in our heads. Women feel like I don't deserve it. Even when I went to mentor walks, I was like, why is this CEO of this global company going to want to talk to me about the challenge that I have when they don't have other things to do? But they're there because they want to be there. They're there to pay it forward, give back to the community and women and make the future better. The main goal of Mentor Walks is to make mentoring accessible to all women. It's a very nominal fee to attend, very small. It's very accessible. We do book out most of our walks, so I would encourage you to get in early. But yeah, I think that's the main way we're really trying to make it very accessible for women.
Yeah. I think one challenge that I always go with whenever I'm seeking mentorship or just seeking advice is how to overcome this imposter syndrome. I think it's this never ending challenge that we women face. But good thing about mentor walks, I think the kind of environment it is created, it's just very gentle, no pressure environment, and hence you can let your questions and thought flow. Very,
100%.
very
Um,
unique concept.
the founder said to me, if you have children, especially older children, the best conversations happen like in a car when you're like facing forward and there's no direct eye contact and it's a little bit less intimidating. And she said to me that she loves mental walks. And I absolutely agree with her that mental, because we're all in our wear, no one's in Chanel suits or really dull, like you have to worry about what you're wearing and walking forward. You're not sitting across the boardroom. It's a safe, comfortable zone while still getting hard and honest feedback and direction. I find that balance lovely.
Yeah. Okay. Reaching towards the end of the podcast, what is next for Mentor Walks? Is there something big planned, or are you going to continue the consistency?
Really consistency. We want to keep growing, reach as many diverse women as possible across Singapore, both mentors and our mentees. We aim for about 60 women walking every week. Oh gosh, that would be a real full-time job. So really just helping support women in Singapore as much as we possibly can and keeping on doing what we're doing and reaching more women. My shout out would be to anyone that's mentees, anyone that thinks that they could benefit from mentorship. And we have ladies in their first role and in retirement. Please drop into mentorwalks.org. Our next walk is on the 11th of February. So we'd love to have you come join us.
I will be there for sure. Right. That one piece of advice you would like to share with women seeking mentorship today?
My advice, take action today. Just do it. I think we spoke before about imposter syndrome, and I think that comes through as people procrastinating or being unsure if this is the right thing. You deserve this. You have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain from being a part of mentorship, whether that's with Mentor Walks or any other networking opportunity. We would love to have you along, support you in your development. If you need any sort of clarity around that, you can always just reach out to me directly. Take action now.
Perfect. And so we reached the end of our podcast. Thank you so much, Belinda, for sharing your journey, experience, and passion for mentor walks and mentorship. I hope this conversation helps our listeners, whether mentors, mentees, or simply curious about mentorship. Thank you again, and stay tuned for more episodes of B2B Marketing Asia podcast.